Coaches, welcome to Championship Culture. Got a fantastic guest tonight, Ryan Habik from Watauga High School in North Carolina. Ryan's been at his school for 8 years, but he's a Florida boy and actually coached in Florida for 6 years. And then you'll never believe this, he married a North Carolina girl, and now he coaches in North Carolina. Same exact thing happened to me. So, Coach, we're excited to have you on here. David Lovett's the one who recommended you, has nothing but fantastic things to say about you, and says you really do a great job building culture and building programs. So, man, I'm excited to hear from you and steal your ideas, buddy.
Sounds good, Coach. Appreciate you having me on. Like I said, David and I had a chance to coach in the Shrine Bowl. It was a great experience. I was, as I tell people, I was a scab coach. You know, that's when the hurricanes hit, and all the coaches that were in the Shrine Bowl were in the state championship game. So one of my assistants, Steve Breitenstein, was assistant, and he called me, I believe Saturday, said, "Hey, can you come coach in the Shrine Bowl?" And ended up going down there and really involved with the offense. But what a great experience we had. But, you know, Coach Lovett being the head coach, really a good opportunity to coach with him, and just the fellowship of the coaches in North Carolina, which, you know, we took great pride in preparing for that game and winning that game there in 2016. But like you said, I'm currently at Watauga High School, you know, right next to Appalachian State. Been here for 8 years. It's been a great experience. Before that, I was at Fuquay Varina for eight seasons. I was head coach there for 5 seasons. My first 3 years, I was defensive coordinator. I coached with just a phenomenal person, a great coach. I know a lot of people in North Carolina know of him, David Riggs, but I coached with David Riggs for 3 years. He brought me up from Florida. I coached in Florida for 6 years where I'm from. I played high school football in Florida, of course. Came up, played collegiate football at Mars Hill in North Carolina, and I married a North Carolina girl. And after 6 years and living in Florida, it was time to move back up to North Carolina. So had an opportunity to coach at Fuquay Varina. What a great experience there. Just, you know, some things that we did really from 2005 to 2012. You know, I think the 3 years prior to getting there in 2003, 2, 3, and 4, they won a total of 5 games there at Fuquay. We ended up winning a lot of football games, won 6 conference championships there at Fuquay Varina, and of course, we wanted to move a little bit closer to my wife's family in western part of North Carolina. So the Watauga job came open 7 years ago. Applied for it. We're fortunate to get it, and things have worked out real well for us here at Watauga High School so far. Last year, we made it to the Western Finals. Had a good run, and like I said, we're all in North Carolina dealing with the COVID-19, so there's a lot of uncertainty going on right now here in North Carolina.
Well, that's perfect, man. You answered you did your 1 minute introduction, Coach. When you're turning to your right, volume is kind of going in and out a little bit. So
okay,
we got most of it, but just when you turn to your right, it's
gotcha.
All right.
You try to turn it up a little bit.
Okay. And let's just keep motoring because that was fantastic. Question number 2, you know, and culture is the big buzzword now, but how do you define culture in your program?
Well, I think everyone, just a general term of culture is with the organization or team, it's shared beliefs, behaviors, and experience. That's the general term that everyone uses for culture. For us, you know, we're dealing with 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. I want to make it very simplistic for our kids. I've been in some very good football programs in Florida, and of course, at Fuquay Varina, and really had great success. And I've been in some programs early on that were not very good. So I was able to, you want to really piece things together and make it very clear and concise for your team. So we use 3 acronyms, and our kids, we train our kids, we mold our kids from the day they enter our program. But the 3 acronyms we use, because kids can't remember long slogans or quotes, I want to make it very easy for our kids, for that freshman. Is the first one is WTW, and that's work and win. So we have 3 circles, and we have 3 acronyms. So we put that acronym in a circle, and the first one is WTW, work and win. The second one is GPE, give perfect effort. And the third acronym is TBM, team before me. So we have the 3 circles, and when those 3 circles, work and win, WTW, GPE, give perfect effort, and TBM, team before me, when those three circles interconnect, you got a chance to really max your potential, your talent on your team. So, that's how we define our culture here at Watauga High School. It's something that we had success at Fuquay. We didn't really define it at Fuquay what we did, but when I got to Watauga High School in 2013, they only had 5 winning seasons in 32 years of football. Of course, everyone remembers Eric Breitenstein in 2006 and 2007, but beyond that, they only had 5 winning seasons in 32 years. So, there wasn't a great football culture. We probably don't have the talent that most schools have as far as football-wise. So we really wanted to build a culture of football. Asked the coaches that were here before, and they said there's a lot of entitlement. So I really wanted to define our culture here and use some of my past experiences at Fuquay Arena and down in Florida at the schools that had success. So using those 3 acronyms, WTW, working to win, GPE, giving perfect effort, and TBM, team before me, really allows our kids to know what our culture is. So when I ask our kids, hey, what's the culture of Watauga football? They're going to say WTW, GPE, TBM. And and how we explain that, because I don't want to be very broad with our kids, I want to be very specific with our kids, is WTW is attitude. We want our kids to have a positive attitude, a coachable attitude, a servant attitude. So that's the first core value, which when we say core values, those are things that are non-negotiable. We don't, there's flexibility in sports and you always adapt from year to year, but these core values that go into our culture, we don't bend for these. But that first one's the attitude. So important. The next one is discipline. Discipline is the next thing that goes in WTW, and that's doing what needs to be done regardless how you feel. And I think as kids, sometimes they don't want to do certain things. They're tired. They don't want to wake up early. They don't want to play that position because they don't feel like doing it. So we really believe in discipline. That's the second thing that goes in WTW. And the third thing is commitment, showing up consistently. So those 3 core values that we have go into WTW: attitude, discipline, and commitment. And then we go to GPE, and that's by itself is effort. And that's given perfect effort with a growth mindset. I think effort, you can achieve a lot of success with effort. So the give perfect effort, that there's only one core value in there, and that's effort. And then of course the TBM, which I think is, it's great that we play football, because in football, I think it's that one sport left that really emphasizes the team. It's all about the team. So for us, TBM is teamwork. And that's selflessly, embracing different roles for the success of the team. We go to we over me. So, we have those 5 core values of attitude, effort, commitment, discipline, and teamwork. And those 5 core values, they never change. That's the same every year. We put those core values into that circle, like I said, and when those 3 circles connect, that is our culture. That's how we reach our full potential each year. That's our goal. As far as talent at the high school level, we can't recruit. We're at the mercy of what kids come out, what kids we can recruit in the hallways. And of course, that's been difficult now with COVID-19. But the culture should, you have to build that every year. That's the thing I tell coaches is, from year to year, you have to build it. In 2018, we made it to the 3rd round of the playoffs. We went 13-1. We had to rebuild that culture last year. And there's things we didn't do well, but we built it up. Had some, lost to Reagan, 3rd game of the year, built it back up, and made it to the 4th round of playoffs, or Western Finals. So I think culture has to be built up each year, but you just hope that you don't have to go all the way to the foundation. We want to make sure the foundation's there and we can build it up year to year.
That was impressive, Coach. I've never heard anyone package it quite like that. And I think if you heard a sound while you were talking, that was 100 guys stealing your 3 circles there. Do you have that visually represented anywhere?
I do. All the handouts we give our kids, I really stole it from Jim Collins a little bit, the hedgehog concept. I have the 3 circles, they all interconnect. And I just thought, I want to make it very simplistic for our kids. And but I do have that. We have a logo I made as far as the 3 circles, and our helmet is right there in the middle of the 3 circles, so the kids can see it. Because it's the thing about WTW, you can have a great attitude, discipline, and commitment, but if you don't have the effort, or the teamwork and those circles are separated from each other, you're going to have some problems. So like teamwork is so important. We've had some kids that have done some unbelievable things, and they were extremely talented players, end up getting full ride Division I scholarships, but they were the most unselfish players. They're servant leaders. And I think when you have, like I said, bind into the three circles and the culture, I think talking a lot about culture, because it is a good buzzword. We put out everything in the weight room, the locker room, on T-shirts. When our kids don't dress out for games, they don't wear jerseys. They wear T-shirts unless they're out for the whole year, but they're missing like 1 or 2 games. And it's got the acronyms on the back. But the good thing now is when you talk to it and you teach the kids, when you know that your culture is really resonating with the players is when your players are talking to the press and they're saying the same thing that you're saying. That's when you know they bought in, because anyone can slap it on a T-shirt or put paint on a wall, but when your players start believing it and talking to other players, that's when it's really special. And we really try to do a lot as far as try to get our players to believe in it. You might ask this question later, but we really try to be intentional. We do with our leadership council of our older guys teaching younger guys. And then one thing that we do once we start the regular season is like Monday is attitude. We're talking about attitude. And I let the seniors get a slogan for attitude. I think this year it was get your mind right Monday. That's attitude. Tuesday was effort. It was bring the juice Tuesday. Wednesday's commitment. It's sharpen the axe. So each year we let them get a slogan that represents that core value. I think Friday was, form the shield, like the movie 300. So now the kids have a little bit of ownership in the core values that you have. But we try to do a lot of things like that to really teach the culture to our team.
I love it. I love that idea. Look, I'm a little worried about the audio because
Okay.
this is shaping up to be one of the better episodes. Yeah, I mean, you got it dialed in on this thing, and I'm just afraid. So basically, what we'll do is at the end. I lost you there.
Let me see Bluetooth. I can put my. I wonder if this would work.
I just don't want to miss this because you really got this thing dialed in. And basically, when we're done, I'll listen to it tonight. And if we got to shoot the thing again, we will, because people need to hear.
Okay, well, let me see if I got Bluetooth.
It sounds good right now.
Okay.
When you start moving around, it starts getting shaky. And like I said, you got it dialed in. I don't want to miss this because you're really doing a great job. All right, so let's keep going.
Earpiece?
Say again.
Okay, well, that's not going to work, is it?
I think it's just being centered on your mic right there.
Well, let me see if the headphones will be better. Does that work better?
That's perfect. We're cooking with gas now. Okay, you really got
Hello?
this thing out. Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you perfect.
Yeah, now when I put the headphones in.
Okay, well.
Right now, you good?
Yeah, the mic you're using now is good. So let's keep it that way.
Okay, good. All right, we're good.
You really are. You got this thing dialed in. I want to keep going. All right. So and I'm looking forward to hearing these three. This is kind of like the nuts and bolts. Question number 3: what are the 3 best things you do to build culture in your program? The way you present it to the kids is off the hook. I mean, that's some of the best stuff I've ever heard. Now, what do you do? What kind of things do you do to actually build it?
Well, the first thing that we do is we really want the upperclassmen, the guys that have been in our program, to take ownership. I think that's important because as coaches, you want a player-led team. You don't want a coach-led team. So one thing that we do, I think a lot of coaches did, and I did at Fuquay, I'm just more intentional now, is we have senior leadership meetings. I do about 2 or 3 of those to really emphasize the culture of our program. I make all the seniors read the John Gordon book. It's 21 Ways to Be a Great Teammate, the hard hat book. So every senior, I bought, 15 of those books. Every year, the seniors, they'll read that book. And we do a study off that book. And what I had the seniors do is we have different off-season workouts in the spring. There's 21 Ways to Be a Great Teammate. I give a topic from the book, and the seniors have to stand in front of their teammates, like after a morning workout or a summer workout, and they got to explain to the team, their topic they've read in the book and how it applies to our team. So that's one thing I do to get the ownership, as far as it's a great book, as far as everything you want from teamwork, from, terms like well done is better than well said, and sacrifice everything. So the seniors do that. What I also
talk about the logistics of that. How are you reading it together and then talking about it later? Or do you just send it home with them and they're responsible for certain pages? What is the logistics on that?
Well, I give them about 3 weeks to read it, and it's very easy to read the book. They can read it in a day. And I give a sheet, a Google Docs, or I give them a form that have questions that they have to fill out. So after 3 weeks, we'll come back and we'll do a book study where I ask the guys questions, and we get a group and say, hey, what do you think about this question? What did you have? And different questions we have regarding the book. So I do have about 10 questions that we have for the book. But we don't read together. I give them 3 weeks to read it. But there are questions that go along with the book. And then I have individual senior meetings with each senior. And we talk a little about the book, just that one senior and myself, along with some other questions that we ask those seniors before the year. But that book study is good. I think one of the best things is when the seniors apply it to their teammates and their team. When they got to talk to their team, say, hey, my topic is well done is better than well said. In the book that we read, George, the main character, did this, how it applies to our team this year. And that's really special, because a lot of times, kids don't like to talk in front of their peers. So now you're giving them another skill set that they can do beyond the football field and talk in front of other people. And it's really funny, because sometimes you do it. You'll have some kids go up there and say 5 seconds worth of words and come back down. And I make them do it again. I said, no, that wasn't good enough. You're going to retry it next week and do it better. So that's worked out really well. Another thing I've done, I got this from Tom Osborne, is I created a unity council. So I let the team vote for, I usually go like 8 players. Sometimes I go 10, but I'll go like 6 seniors and 2 to 4 juniors. And they're on a unity council. And I got a book. It's called Captain's Manual from Jensen, I believe, the author, Jeff Jansen. And there's 10 weeks of chapters in there. And we will do a unity council meeting as well, where there's each week is a question. It teaches the kids how to be leaders by example, and teaches them how to be vocal leaders. And there's great material in the book. So I'm trying to teach about 8 to 10 leaders how to be leaders by example and vocal leaders, because, what kids think is a vocal leader is not really a vocal leader. It's not the rah-rah type person. It's someone that, one, is a leader by example first. And we say you got to have the 4 C's. You got to have commitment, confidence, composure, and character. Those are the 4 C's that you have to have. Once you have that, you're a leader by example. To be a vocal leader, number one, you have to encourage your teammates about 70% of the time. So, I had last year, I had a phenomenal athlete, my quarterback, safety. He's a running back at Appalachian State right now. Ran for 2,300 yards, threw for 1,400 yards, started at safety. But he was a great leader. He had those 4 C's, but he encouraged his teammates. And then the other 30%, you have to enforce team standards. You're going to have to get, those leaders, when guys aren't doing the right things, they're going to have to get on them for not, showing up on time or doing what they're supposed to be doing, because it's a team thing. It's, you have your tight end doesn't do his job, the play's not going to be successful. So I think it's real important that we're teaching these kids how to be leaders by example, but you also have to teach them how to be vocal leaders. So I think in high school, it's really hard for kids to be vocal leaders.
Is all that in the Captain's Manual?
It is.
Book? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff Jansen. There's 10 weeks, and like I said, it's great. Your composure. A lot of times kids have a hard time with composure. They make a bad play. They want to live with that play forever. They don't want to like drop it, 25 seconds, new play. So I've had some really great kids that were good players, had a hard time with composure. And there's some good things that teach you how to work on the composure. They use a traffic light analogy, red light, yellow light, green light. And so we use a lot of that. And then we want our, what we do with the Leadership Council, and we make this fun too. Now, it's been a little unique with COVID, but every year what we've done is we pick teams. I use college teams. I'm a big college football fan. I don't like the NFL too much, but I like and we have the Leadership Council. We pick six teams, and we call them Pioneer Process teams. So what we do is the six guys that had the most votes for Union Council, they're a captain. And I have six teams. I'm a little bit superstitious. I use the same teams every year, like North Carolina, NC State, Ohio State, Florida, different teams we use. So, a kid will pick, all right, I got Carolina, Team Carolina. And then what we do is we do a player draft. And so it's all the players in our off season, and we do this in February. So you have a little bit of idea, because sometimes the freshmen, they might have played freshmen, but they didn't come to any kind of off-season workout, so they're not playing. But so we wait till about February, and once we have February starts, we did this online. We did a Google Meet where we had all the players, and we have the captains, and we do a snake draft, just like fantasy football. And whoever's got first draft, we go down, and they pick, just like the NFL draft, they pick the players from the team. And we have different events that we do throughout the year. We call them Pioneer Process Challenges, where it's attendance in a weight room. It's attendance for our different activities that we do. It's a team GPA. We do competition events on the field. We do power clean maxes, bench maxes, fundraising. We tie fundraising into how many cards you sell. So the captains they're not picking their buddies. They're picking players that are going to score them a lot of points. So, hey, they know, hey, Johnny's going to have really good attendance. I'm going to pick him, or Billy's going to sell a lot of cars. I'm going to pick him for this. So when they pick, it's funny. They don't pick their best friends. They're picking guys that are going to help their team win. So sometimes what happens is those cliques of friends that were always hanging out together, but they know, hey, that person's not really committed. When he finds out he's a fifth-round pick, that kind of resonates with him. Hey, maybe I need to do a little bit more, because my best friend didn't even pick me in the top 3 rounds. But we do that. So we have Pioneer Process teams, and we use those teams the whole off season and really into fall camp. So as far as fundraising, we try to be a total program. So you always have some kids that don't even put forth any effort. Now, one of our core values is effort. When we're doing fundraising, we're selling the cards. It's a team event. It's not an individual event. So Team Florida, what's the average amount of cards Team Florida sold? And that's the event that we have in our Pioneer Process competition. So the last week before the regular season game week, we'll have all the points come together. And the winner, I open up our team catalog, Adidas. We have Adidas for our uniforms and everything. We order a lot of Adidas stuff. So I let whatever team wins, they can order wherever they want that Adidas magazine. I give them a price range, and team captain might be a duffel bag, a backpack, a hoodie, or a jacket, or something that they're going to order for a certain amount. I think I use about $60 to $70 per person on that 10-on team. So we're using that as far as for everything. So whoever has the most points at the end. I think we have 10 events, from GPA to attendance to different activities that we do. And then the losing team, I always use the term the Navy SEALs, winning pays and losing has consequences. So the losing team, they have a chore, or they have some kind of punishment they have to do. Like one year we had a fundraiser, steak dinner fundraiser. I made the losing team be waiters at this thing. They all had to wear our acronym culture shirt, and they were waiters. Sometimes it's clean up the school, something they do for losing. But I always feel it's the leadership of the Pioneer Process, because some of these seniors and juniors, they're going to have freshmen and sophomores that they don't know, and they're going to have to really work on encouraging these guys to, one, show up to weight training or summer workouts, help with the fundraising, get their GPA. So now you have the players holding each other accountable. And that has really, I think, helped out. We haven't been able to do it as much with COVID, not really being in the school. But again, that's really worked out really well for us the last 4 years.
That is incredible, man. You're knocking it out of the park. You're doing a great job. All right. I hate to stop hearing you talk, man. Give us one more. Give us one more.
Okay, well, we got plenty. So that's the one thing that we do as far as the pioneer process, and that's a big one. Just reinforcing the culture each year. I think the book studies are really big that we do. And the senior meetings, we'll do two or three, and I have, a PowerPoint that we show them. The uni council meetings, we'll do, like I said, we'll do like 5 or 6 of those to get those guys. And then the pioneer process, they get a chance to really lead their team and talk to their team, and it really helps as far as if guys don't. One thing I do with the pioneer process teams too is, like, if let's say you have a sophomore that gets in trouble, he's being disrespectful to a teacher. I'm going to make everyone on Team Florida, I use the pioneer process, everyone on Team Florida run after practice because Johnny messed up in class and he's part of Team Florida. So we have teams within the big team. So it makes it easier. Instead of having the whole team run because of Johnny, my expectation is, if Sterling Salas, who was one of my seniors, if he's the captain of Team Florida, I want to make sure that he is really encouraging that younger player how to behave and what it means to be a Watauga football player, because that's important. The younger players, they hear you speak a little bit, but when the seniors and juniors that have ownership in the program are getting those younger players, hey, that's not the way we act. We want to act to a high standard. We want to behave in school. We want to be positive role models in a school and a community. So we do a lot of that as far as that's concerned. Another thing, because when I got to Watauga, some of the coaches said there was a lot of entitlement as far as seniors and upperclassmen. Thought they were seniors, they're entitled to things. So I went to the opposite. I was more of a servant leadership. I want our seniors to serve. As our coaches, as my job is to serve the coaches and the players, coaches' jobs are to serve the players. I want our seniors to serve the younger classmen. So I don't want freshmen and sophomores having to serve our seniors. So one thing that we do that's very unique, we have a great trainer, but we don't have student trainers like we did in Wake County at Fuquay Arena. So I make the seniors bring out the water every day. And for me, it's servant leadership. I think it's the most important thing when you're at practice is you want to make sure you have water. So the seniors, one coach that gets a schedule and he makes a schedule for the week. These 2 seniors have to bring out the water boys to practice. And it's not an easy task because you got to go down the hill and, over the gravel into the practice field. So they got to have the water. They get the water every day at practice and then bring it back up to make sure they plug it back in. They take care of the water even in the summer. They take care of the water in the summer. And that's been really helpful. And then, of course, clean up the locker room. I'm really big at when you go in a locker room, if it's really clean, like during practice, those guys take ownership in that locker room. So I want that locker room to be really clean. So each day we have a pioneer process team is responsible for the locker room. Actually, we do by the week. So like week 1, Team Oregon might be responsible on both sides, JV and varsity, because you got both JV and varsity kids. So if the locker room's not clean, I'm going to hold that captain of Team Oregon responsible, and then the whole team's going to run. So if I got a senior, he wants to make sure that he's organized. Hey, you 3 guys are cleaning the JV side, you guys, and it cleans not much. It's sweeping the floor, taking the trash out, doing, make sure everything's off the ground. So they're doing that. And I got that from the rugby team, the All Blacks rugby team. They use the term sweeping the shed, and they want to make sure that, that the seniors are taking ownership, that no one else is going to have to clean their locker room. They're going to do that. And our kids have done a great job. I remember in 2018, we had a great year, went 13-1. We lost in the 3rd round to Weddington. And of course, as coaches, the worst thing is when you lose in the playoffs, season's over. And it's a home game for us too. And after the game, our seniors are sweeping. I mean, it's the last game of ever for majority of them. went 13-1, lost to Weddington, had state championship aspirations. And our guy, we had like 5 seniors in there sweeping the locker room up, cleaning it up. And I mean, that was just amazing. And that definitely resonated into this year. So I think a lot of things like that, when you get the seniors understanding that, how they behave, the moral character skills that they have is going to resonate with the younger guys.
Coach, I used to think I did a good job with culture until I just listened to you talk, man. That's absolutely fantastic. Tell me, I had one question. Tell me how would you say, what is the big difference between your leadership council and your unity council? What's the big difference between those two?
That's a great question, Coach. But it used to be when I was at Fuquay, the leadership council is really your seniors. One thing, I don't pick captains. I didn't, when I was at Fuquay Verena's head coach, I didn't do it either. What I do is you have a few key players that are always going to be on the field. They're always captains just because you want them talking to the referees. But I let each senior get an opportunity to be a captain. We send 4 captains out there, and I'll have, before the year's out, usually I'm gonna have every senior opportunity to walk out there and be a captain. But I want every senior to feel like they got an opportunity to be a leader. But some seniors, they're not gonna really be a great leader. They're just gonna be, sometimes they're just gonna be compliant. They're gonna show up, they're gonna be compliant, but they're not gonna be really compelled or but I want them to read that book. I'm going to teach them how they can be a senior, even how they can be a leader, even if they're not like a star player, just by being a positive role model. But the Unity Council, it goes a step above. We meet more. Of course, I'll bring donuts or some food for these guys, biscuits, but we're going to meet more often, and it's not every senior. So now I want like 6 seniors, maybe 2 to 4 juniors. Maybe next year I might add some sophomores, just so you have a better base of unity councils. I want to get the heartbeat of the team. I want to like call these 10 guys and say, hey, tell them about what's going on this week. There's some kind of controversy going on. If you have all the seniors, then you might not get a good feel for the team. But if you only have like 10 people, you get a good feel. But I want to make sure that the seniors that I have a good leadership council with my seniors, and then of course the unit council, you add underclassmen. One thing I do with seniors too is I give them a brick. And I put the theme. Each year we do a theme. I think a lot of coaches do it. Last year it was ownership. The year before that it was uncommon. This year's investment. So every year, because you're rebuilding your culture each year. Hopefully not the foundation, but the acronyms don't change. That's the same each year. But every year, I don't say like this is year. I guess we'll be 2020, but this 2020, 21. But like 2020 for us is team investment. Last year was team ownership. So I always refer to our teams as team uncommon, team ownership, team team relentless, whatever theme we have, that's how I refer to that team. So what that does is, once you have that football banquet and that year's over, you have a great year. Now it's a new year, and I get a banner I put in the weight room. I get them from Vistaprint, and I make a big 4x8 banner, put in a weight room, and a picture of us running out. And it says like team investment 2020. So it's a new year. I want our kids to, we had last 2 years we had great years. Last year went 13-2 Western Finals, and that was great. But I want this team it's a new year. We got to start over. Hopefully we have the flywheel going where we can keep momentum. But again, it's a new year, and we can't just rely on what we did last year. And I think that really helps, especially because, in 2018, we had a school record. We won 13 games. It was a school record, and we lost some really good seniors and had some players move away. Coach Satterfield's son moved away. And so, going into last year, we weren't anticipated to be as good as we were, but we ended up being even better because some of our guys did some really special things. So I think having that theme each year kind of helps out too, is the reset. This is the new year going forward.
All right, off the script, because I can tell you're a reader. What give us 2 or 3 books, must read books.
Well, one, I thought, I love John Gordon. I'm a big John Gordon guy. The Hard Hat is one I made the seniors all read. Training Camp was a really good one. The Energy Bus is the first one. I always started with that. One of the books I like is not really a football book, but Jim Collins' Good to Great. I think that's a great book. It talks about leadership, different leadership principles that we use in our program, from the hedgehog concept, confronting the brutal facts, and the flywheel concept. That's a good book, but I'll read football, basketball, leadership. I mean, I try to read a lot and just get different things. Jim Tressel had a great book, The Winner's Manual. I read that a long time ago. I really enjoyed Urban Meyer's book. That was a good one. The last one he wrote. And Jay Bills had a really good one too. So, I try to read a lot. Just, I try to read, about 10 books in the off season and try to improve myself, get different ideas. And like you said, it's all about the leadership and the character and the culture of your program going forward. Because athletes and talents can change year to year.
Man, you've knocked this out of the park, buddy. All right, let me question number 4. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first got started?
Well, this is my 22nd year coaching, and I tell you, and I think every coach would agree, is once you start coaching, is you're always learning year to year. I mean, even when you have a great year, you look at things that you did wrong, you try to improve. So, I think now that I'm doing it, being more intentional with the players as far as the culture, the relationship. The one thing that I like to say is, when you have a team that has high relationships and high accountability, you got a chance to be really good. If you only have high relationships but really low accountability, it's going to be a country club, mentality. Or and the vice versa. If you have like a lot of high accountability but no relationships, you're not going to have a really close-knit team. So I think in Florida and Fuquay, we did a lot of these things, but I think being more intentional as far as with the culture, getting the players more involved with the ownership of the program, teaching the younger players some things that we do now here at Watauga, because we have to. I think if I would have done that at Fuquay, I think we could have really got those younger kids really buying in, rather than until their junior year they finally pick it up. So I think being more intentional with player-led teams rather than a coaching-led team. And I think sometimes you just have to go through the process. You learn, hey, maybe that wasn't the best way to do it in the past, but for me, I feel I'm a lot better coach now than I was when I first started as a head coach in 2008 at Fuquay Arena. So I think you're always learning, you're always improving, but definitely I think incorporating the players more, of taking ownership in the program.
Fantastic. I want to circle back to your captain's manual. You said you give each of your seniors the John Gordon book, but how do you handle the captain's manual when you're taking them through that? You said there's 12 lessons that you're taking them through.
I bought 12 books. It's a pretty expensive book. It's like $29, but we fundraise pretty good. So I bought 20, and now the books, they have to return the hard hat book. Seniors have to return the book. I put like a number on, like 1 through 15. They have to return it. Sometimes you lose some each year, and same with the captain's manual. I make sure that they return that as well. So I give each uni council member a book, and that's their book for the year. And then they turn it in at the end of the year is what they do.
All right, perfect. And then you said the hard hat they're reading at home. Are you doing the captain's manual together, or is that one you read at home and then you talk about it in the meeting?
Well, the good thing about the book, there's a weekly lesson. So they read a lesson. There's questions, and I ask them questions too. So I might make a Google form, and they fill out the question, and then we'll talk. This year we did some Google Meets or Zoom meetings that we taught amongst itself. But sometimes we'll meet during a planning period at school. We have a kind of like a flex period that we can meet. Sometimes we meet before school because we don't have school until 8:30. So we'll meet and we'll talk about a chapter. So it'll take us the whole off season to go through the book for this captain's manual.
And is one lesson a week is basically what you're doing?
Sometimes I do one lesson every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Depends on how much time we have. Now that, like I said, when COVID hit, we were doing a lot more Zoom stuff, which makes it a little bit easier. But before that, when I had kids come before school, sometimes it's hard. So I want to meet like once, maybe every 2 weeks is what we did. And that worked out really well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, man, absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna have to give David a hug when I see him, because he did me right on this one. Let me question number 5, contact information. Are you on Twitter? Do you social media?
Well, we have a football Twitter account, which I'm very heavily involved with, because that's another thing. Is I think if you do want to promote your program, I'm not a big Twitter guy myself. I don't have a personal Twitter account, but I do help run our football one. It's Perfect Effort 14 is a handle. So Perfect Effort 14. So we put a lot of things about what our kids are doing on Twitter. If we're doing, I want people in our community to see, and I think that's really big. The social media is the people in the community seeing all the good things that your players are doing. So we do use Twitter a lot. I don't use it. I want everything to be about our team. So it's Perfect Effort 14. And then our website is WataugaFootball.net is our team website. And that's got my contact is on there, my email address, and then my office number. So if people need to contact me, they can shoot me an email. It's on that website right there. But again, I'm kind of middle-aged. I haven't been a lot with the social media, but I try to improve with that a little bit. But some of my younger guys have done a better job with social media than me. I'm still working on this Zoom meeting stuff and Google Meets. I'm still, I've learned a lot the last 4 months. I'm kind of old school in certain ways.
Haven't we all? Haven't we all learned a lot the last couple months? Last thing is anything you want to promote. You got the last word. Anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to promote?
Well, I think, the biggest thing is, like I said, I've been coaching for 22 years. I think for the younger coaches, and I think why people would be watching a podcast about culture is, when I first got out of college, I thought I knew everything. I was a college quarterback, college safety. I played on both sides of the ball in college. It's not about the X's and O's. Now, those are important, but does not make everything run. It's the root. You got to nurse the root, not the fruit. So I think the culture and how you do things, always look to improve. I had some really good young coaches that really have grasped that concept, but going through the process of learning things as a head coach, I think it's real important. One thing we've had great success here at Watauga, last 7 years, last 2 years, won 26 games, last 2 years, but I think building a great assistant coaching staff, and we couldn't do without the staff that we had. But as I tell our assistant coaches, I don't want a bunch of yes people, but I want all the assistant coaches to be aligned. And a term I use with our coaches is I say, you're responsible for a certain area, but you're accountable to the team. And that's what I tell our assistant coaches. So if you're a DB coach, you are responsible for the DBs, that they're doing their job, that they're coached up, that you have a great relationship. But that unit, and we use the Urban Meyer 9-unit strong, that unit is responsible for the team. So same thing with defense and offense. Those are all working together. And sometimes you see teams where the offensive coaches don't get along with defense coaches. For us, it's about one team. So you're always responsible for your area, but accountable to the team. So I think as a head coach, really giving your position coaches ownership, and we don't say positions, we say units. That's your unit. You're responsible for the D line. And one thing I do with the coaches, and I actually got this from Coach Riggs, my first 3 years at Fuquay Arena, is each week we do a theme for the week. So like the first week, we'll always use the yearly theme. But the second, and through how many games you play, we have a weekly theme, and I have assistant coach pick that theme and they present that to team. So it gives the assistant coaches a chance to talk to the whole team about a theme for that week. And that's talking to my assistant coaches. I think they really enjoy that because they get some ownership, and it's not always me. It comes from the assistant coaches. So that's something neat that we've done here the last really 13 years.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. Buddy, I sure do appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
You're probably going to get a lot of contacts because you did a great job. But I appreciate it, buddy. This will be on, I think this will be on next Saturday. So
Okay, good deal.
I'll shoot you a text on your team group thing, and so you'll know. I
I
appreciate it,
appreciate
man.
that, Coach.
Have a good one.